Hello, everybody. So sorry to keep you all waiting. This is the Summer of VO workshop, June 27th, 2018. We have a great turnout here. Very excited to have you all here. And for those of you who will be listening to the recording, look forward to hearing your thoughts. As I said, I'm Tish Hicks. I'm the Master Sensei of the VO Dojo. We are based in Burbank, California, but I happen to be here in New York City at the moment. So excited to have all of you here. So let's see. I'll be sharing the screen with the presentation, and I think that's everything. So without further ado, let me get the presentation going. Oh, technicalities. Okay, so here we are, the VO Dojo Summer of VO workshop. This is the launch of our Summer of VO workouts this summer, which I call a virtual summer camp, virtual voiceover summer camp for grown-ups. So we'll be starting with that. A little bit about me. I am a 20-year voiceover pro. I'm originally from Chicago, been based in LA for over 20 years now. I've been the voice of Subaru for the last 7 years, voice of Citibank for 7 years before that. I work in pretty much all the genres. I just booked a job that I'm actually going to be working on tomorrow night for a very big video game company, and I do gameplay videos. So it's for their next release. I could tell you, but I'd have to kill you. So I'll tell you when it's out. But I'm really excited about that. That just came about. I want to play you a little bit of my work because one of the values of the VO Dojo is that we walk the talk. So it's really important to me that I'm out doing this work, that I'm sharing the foundations for with you as well. So here's a little sample of my voiceover work.
I love handling any situation I'm put in. I love going the distance and then some. I love when a good thing gets even better. I love my Subaru Forester.
Excellent. So just a little proof. Let me come back to here. And just wanted to share a little bit about the VO Dojo. About 7 years ago, not unlike the way that I crossed the threshold into voiceover, which combined all of the skills that I had ever done as a voiceover talent. I crossed the threshold into teaching and created the foundations of the VO Dojo, which has evolved into a full training program that's designed to guide you from I don't know to working pro. So it's made up of 4 elements. We start with You Should Do Voiceover Intensive. That gives you a comprehensive overview and a little taste of everywhere. So this is a taste of the taste. What we're going to be doing today is a taste of the taste of the taste, and then the summer is one of the most casual ways to get involved with the dojo. If the way we're working sparks you, we have a full-year training program called From Mystery to Mastery that is like going into full training. So we'll talk about that in a second. If you're a working pro, we have the nth degree. In the Mystery to Mastery program, you have 4 belt levels. And when you complete them, you get your black belt, and then you move on to the nth degree. And we also have the VO Dojo Pro Fight Club, which is a working pro workout that brings together top-notch talent with the decision makers who hire us. We just had a virtual one last night with an amazing New York casting director called Lisa Fishoff, and she was brilliant. You can always audit those. You need to be working pro, demo, repped, and booking to play, but you can always audit those. So that's a little bit about what's going on in terms of the context of what we're getting a little taste of today is part of a much bigger curriculum and program. So if you like what we're doing, just to lay out that this isn't just like me saying some stuff. It's part of a much bigger vision in terms of how you approach doing this work. Right now, we're just dipping our toe in. So I'd love to get a sense of who you guys are. And I see some of you have already done this. And actually, for time's sake, let's see what. Yeah, for time's sake, I think I'd rather. I'd love to have everyone write in the chat. Well, let's see. Yeah, I'd like to have you write in the chat who you are. I mean, obviously, we'll see who you are and where you're calling from and where you are in your voiceover journey. Usually, I like to hear everyone's voices, but since we've gotten a late start, I'd rather actually get to the work and we can all meet each other as we're going on, and we can keep in touch. Yeah, this is great. Thank you, Lisa. There you go. So everyone can do that. May, great. And everyone should be able to see these. And yeah, and it's great if you're new to voiceover. This is exactly where you should be. So very good. And if you're just coming on, if you can mute yourself in the bottom left-hand corner, that would be great. Master control here. Hold on a second. I need to do it. Muting. Manage participants. Yes, here we go. There we go. Excellent. So if we do want to share something, there we go. Oh, this is great. Great, great, great. Love it. Andrew, great. Okay. All right. Good. So I'm going to keep on keeping an eye on here, and then hopefully I'll be able to when we talk, we'll be able to. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, 1 second. I wanted to make it big again. There we go. All right, so let's jump in. I wanted to talk we talked a little bit about the program structure of the VO Dojo, but I wanted to start diving into the work we're going to do today, which is designed to just dip your toe in and give you some tools that you can start playing around with. Want to start introducing the way of the dojo. So one of the things that is, I think, a little bit different. I think everyone who does professional voiceover and does it well comes from a pretty powerful place. It's anyone who does it, it becomes not only a way to make a living, but a way of life. And so the dojo, we approach it from all of the angles of how it becomes part of your life. So it's a very holistic approach, and we, taking the martial arts model, incorporate mind, body, and spirit, and how it all comes together. One of the foundational principles that we'll be working with today and throughout all of the time that we're working together is that voiceover is communication, and communication is an exchange of vibrational energy. That's it. And if you think about it, no matter what your background, and I'm seeing people are coming from a lot of different places to this work, which is great. Whatever your background is, this is something that we've been doing since we were pre-verbal, right? You hear a baby cry, and there's an exchange of vibrational energy in the communication of it. And then it just gets refined from there as we learn to speak and share, right? It's always the energy underneath the words that is actually communicating what's going on, right? So keep that in mind, because it's going to inform everything that we're doing today. And if you have any questions, just unmute yourself and let me know, or you can type it in the chat. So the other thing that we do here at the dojo is figuring out how everything works together in a, as I said, very holistic way. So we're always figuring out what is the organic and the technical, and figuring out how they go together. This is an image, a pixelated image of a fractal. And the fractal is a repetition of a pattern, and it goes in to it repeats and goes tinier and tinier and tinier, the nuance within the nuance within the nuance. And if we expanded this out, it would continue to do that. And this is really what voiceover is about. We're going to lay down some tools today, give you some basic tools that should give you a way to find your way into a piece of copy. And what will happen as you continue to do this is you'll keep on refining it. You'll keep on understanding how it fits together with everything else, and you'll keep on refining the tools so you can keep on finding the nuances within the nuances. The holistic approach and understanding how everything works together is what's really important. So before we begin, let's talk about 5 things that it takes to create a sustained, successful voiceover career. I have a picture of a boxer up here because it's kind of my martial arts background is kickboxing. But I like to lay things out to demystify things by taking the question, if someone came up to you and said, people tell me all the time I should be a professional boxer, what should I do? It's really hard to break into, right? You would not have to have stepped into the ring or even put on gloves to know kind of what you need to do, right? And if you wanted to do it professionally, then you would step into full training, right? But if you think about something like boxing and something like voiceover, there's things that it takes to get to a sustained, successful career. So the first of these things is decision. Second is mindset. The mindset of a champion, the mindset of a successful boxer, the winner. The third is technique. How do you do things? How do you do things? And then application. Once you know what it is you're doing, this is a jab, this is an uppercut, this is a right hook, this is a left hook, then how do you apply it and how do you put it together so that you can use it fluidly in whatever situation that you're in? And the last thing is support. No boxer goes into the ring without a whole support system, right? There's a corner man and trainers down the line. So these are the things that I've broken it down to. So let's see. I wish I could see you guys as well as see the presentation, but I can't. So if you have any questions or anything that is going too fast, just raise your hand or just unmute yourself and please feel free to ask questions. So let's talk about this first thing, decision, right? Taking another metaphor, one does not, let's say, if you think of a successful, sustained career being the summit of a mountain, right? Then wherever you are from sea level to the summit, you need to start where you are, right? Sometimes a helicopter comes and brings you up. Sometimes you have to figure every step up the foothills and up to the top of the mountain. But nobody casually finds themselves at the top of K2, you have to make a conscious decision to get there, and skills and expertise and often guidance. Right? You wouldn't climb K2 without a Sherpa, someone who knows the ropes, right? Are part of it. So the first thing you need to know is that this takes a decision. Right now, we're just checking it out, so you don't have to decide anything. A successful, sustained career requires making a decision to go after it. And here's great news, and I say this like with all positivity and everything in my heart, that nobody cares if you do this or not. Just like nobody cares if you climb a mountain or not. Everything's going to be just fine if you don't climb K2. Everything's going to be fine if you don't want to do this. But if you have an inkling and kind of want to check it out, this is where you begin. So, decision. Next thing is mindset. Because of the foundations that we're laying out, that voiceover is communication, and communication is an exchange of vibrational energy. Where you are in your mindset and how that affects everything in you is really important. If you have negative voices or inner critics yapping in your ear and affecting you, that's going to come through to me. If you're in a mindset of, oh, this will never work, it's really hard to break into. It is really hard to break into. You know why? Because you have to be freaking good. But you can get freaking good. But if you have a mindset that is hard, then it can be much harder. So at the dojo, we have some frameworks, a lot of ways of helping you to think about things and start creating your own way of approaching the work. So two of the frameworks of mindset that we use as foundations at the dojo are called the rules of the dojo and the rules of voiceover. So these are ideas that we introduce and then have you memorize them, have you keep on taking them in until you know them, and then you start incorporating them into your work, and then they become integrated into your work. And it's when these rules and rules of the dojo and rules of voiceover are things that you just do every day, that the mastery comes. So let's take a look at these. The rules of the dojo. First rule of the dojo: focus. Know what you want, ask for it. People will give it to you if you allow. 4 very distinct things that take a lifetime to master, right? When you put them all together, they become an engine that generates the momentum to your work inside and out. Second rule of the dojo: positive self-direction. Keep your inner critic outside of the booth. We're going to work with a few people in the application part, and we may meet their inner critic. Right? You might even have an inner critic that's giving you some slack, like, oh, what are you doing on this call? Hopefully not, because this is just playing. There's nothing not to explore here. But just notice if you already know your inner critic. If not, in this process, you get to know them, and we'll incorporate them into the work. Third rule of the dojo: confidence. Know you can do it even though you've never tried. It's really powerful and important to approach everything. Why can't I do it? Right? And then to know what you can do and what can be improved. Right? Always having that balance, but from a positive approach. The fourth rule of the dojo: excellence. We are essential and we are expendable. There's no room for mediocrity. So that does not mean you will not hear a mediocre mattress ad on the air. You will. But the way we're training is to be able to work at the highest levels of the business and also of what you can bring to the business. Fifth rule of the dojo, and perhaps the most important and really exciting because of where you're at right now. The fifth rule is cultivate beginner's mind, determination, humility, and curiosity. So where you're at right now at the beginning of this journey, take it all in. It's a really powerful place that you want to keep in mind as you continue to go. I'm 20 plus years into this journey, and I still am like, cool, what else can I learn? Hey, wow, that didn't go as well as I thought. What else can I do? So let's see, any questions about rules of the dojo? Okay. Let's go over the rules of voiceover, and we'll do another check-in and see how that landed. Okay, so rules of voiceover. So rules of the dojo are sort of ways of doing things. Rules of voiceover are things that you bring to every piece of voiceover, that you keep in mind for everything when you're doing it. So the first rule of the dojo, or the first rule of voiceover, is share your truth. The second rule of the dojo is trust your voice. Trust your voice. Third rule of the dojo is keep energy moving forward, both in your work and both in your, like, working on the copy and working on your career, always keeping the energy moving forward. Fourth rule of the dojo is listen carefully. It's an oral medium. Most of you are probably on the call because you interpret the world orally. You already have skills that things make sense to you because you hear them, you get them. You probably understand a lot of nuances already. Maybe not know it, but listening carefully is essential to everything we do in voiceover. And this is the most important thing, if nothing else, that you take away from this afternoon together. Fifth rule of voiceover is play fully. So that's both play fully, like all in, do whatever you can, and jump as fully in as you can, because if you don't, the guy who's going to get the job or the gal who's going to get the job is. And then also playfully, like understanding what a joyous, wonderful way of having a life this is. Just say words and play around and play with different things. So play fully. So let me check in with you guys here. I'm going to stop the share for a second, and then we're going to dive into. Let's see. My cursor's not working. We're going to dive into the technique and the application. So it looks like everyone's got their screens off, but if you can turn your screens on for a second, just want to see your faces and get a sense of where everyone's at. Anyone have any questions so far about anything, or anything that's resonating with them? It's all making sense? Okay. You do, please just, oh yeah, no worries, Sarah. If you don't have a webcam, that's fine. This is a great medium. This is how we usually work when we're working virtually with people. So it really helps to be able to see each other and get a sense. Okay, anything about the rules and the foundations? We sort of laid some foundations. All making sense? Okay, good. Let's get back to our show. Great. Previously on the Summer of VO workshop. Okay, so let me get the slides up again. Great. Share the screen. Here we go. And okay. All right. So what I want to do now, let me just check the time. we've got some time. So what I'm going to do is lay out some tools, some techniques that all of you can use in moving forward. And then I've got a few pieces of copy, and I'd like to have a few people step up and demonstrate, explore using the tools. So we'll get through the explanation, and then we'll see how much time we have and have as many people as we can play. We'll definitely have 3 people play and show us examples of how this works when you apply it. Okay, so the first part of the toolbox, and it has to do with the holistic approach and integrating mind, body, spirit. I encourage people to think of stepping up to a microphone like entering the zone of creativity. So whenever you're stepping into a booth or just wherever you're working, doing this work, just really creating what we call the Zen bubble, that everything else goes away. Everything is possible in this Zen bubble. Anything that's not possible is outside of it. And anything that's on your mind or worrying you just clears away. Getting your bearings and creating what I call a sacred yes space. One thing that I suggest to people to do is wherever your workspace is or wherever you're even playing around doing this, see what happens if you put Post-it notes up that just say yes, 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 yes. And so wherever you are in your workspace, just see permission. Yes, 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 yes. And approaching it in a sacred way. Creativity is a sacred act. And every time you step up to the mic, you're making something. So if we can start from that framework, it sets everything in motion in a different way. So what we're going to do today in this Summer VO workshop is give you a little toolbox. So if I had to break down the most essential tools, like I might give you a hammer, a screwdriver, and a saw, right? That would get a lot of stuff done, right? So we're going to give you a few tools that will allow you to start exploring anything voiceover-wise. So the main tool I want to give to you today is what I call the braid of analysis. So if you think of what a braid is, right? A braid is 3 strands that are separate entities and then come together to create a stronger and distinct entity, right? And they're created by interweaving them consistently throughout. So if you think of every piece of copy or approaching every piece of copy and finding those 3 strands that run through, the 3 strands are connection, we'll go more into depth in that in a second, logic, and energy. Okay, and this should allow you to calibrate any piece of copy in any genre. This will be a foundational framework that you can run any piece of copy through. So let's talk a little bit about what each of these strands are. So each strand is made up of 2 plies, right, like a piece of yarn twisted together. So with connection, the 2 plies are what resonates with you and who are you sharing it with, right? We're talking about an exchange of vibrational energy, right? So if we connect up to what's happening in the copy, that's great, yay. But the real exchange of vibrational energy comes from when we're sharing it with somebody. Okay, So how you use this tool is after you take in all the information that's on the page, read down for connection. So go down the page and find everything that resonates with you. We'll walk through an example. We'll start talking about this. So what do you personally feel about this? And if it's something that you hate or something that you don't care for, and that's your vibrational energy, then how can you find something that is in the idea of the spot, but is something you genuinely would share your truth about, right? And then the next thing you do is, who are you sharing this with? And if you keep that to be one specific person that you know in real life, what happens is, if you're sharing with that one person, everything that's happened in your interaction with that person on a vibrational level comes through, right? Think about it. If you have 3 siblings, what and how you share with your oldest brother could be completely different than what and how you share with your youngest sister, right? Even though you're all family, right? But you would, and all of the history, of the specific history between you and each of these people is something that comes through. So connection. Connection, I find, is the most effective and important tool. Because if you know what you're talking about in real life, if you are talking to somebody, you know what you're talking about, why you're talking about it. Most of the time, it takes care of everything technically, right? It's very rare that we're actually talking to somebody and we run out of breath, like, unless we're not really connected to what we're saying. It's very rare that we are talking to somebody and we don't automatically adjust our volume to make it correct to our relationship where we are in space with somebody. And also, we don't, it's not very often when we're talking to somebody that we choose which word to emphasize. It just happens naturally when you're connected to what you're sharing. So that's the first idea. The next idea, the next strand of the braid of analysis is logic. What are you talking about and how are you talking about it, right? So really understanding what is it that this spot is about and how is it structured and how do those things inform how I connect, right? What is the humor of the spot? That's something that would be part of the logic, right? How is it being shared? Logic is often, you can think of it like a 7th grade essay. A copy has a really a pretty consistent format, right? Here's the premise, here's the supporting thoughts, here's the conclusion and the summary, right? So if you read down for connection, find everything you connect with, you read up for logic. And I'll show you how to do this. You would take the end line and see how each line above leads to the where you're ending up, right? I'll show you how this works when we get to actually applying these ideas. So read down for connection, scan up for logic. And the last thread of the braid of analysis is energy. And this has 2 strands as well. How much energy does it take to deliver this message, right? If I'm talking about a Johnson's baby shampoo commercial, when we brought our daughter home, it was the most heartbreaking, not heartbreaking, that they wouldn't use that. It was the most difficult moment when we gave her first bath. But we used Johnson baby shampoo and everything was all right? As opposed to a regional car sales ad. It's the Toyota one day only sale. Red 10 sale is going on now, right? That would require a lot more energy to deliver that message, right? So how much energy does it take is one thread, and how is the energy moving through? How is it one continuous thread from beginning to end? A I'm going to show you a little video clip of people doing parkour. If you've ever seen it, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, I'll show it to you here. And what I want you to keep an eye on is how the energy is always moving forward. What is possible in the movement and how the energy is always moving forward. So we might not watch all of this, but I want you to get a little taste and think of how what's happening physically you can activate in your copy. Okay? So here's a little bit of parkour. So you notice there's never a moment of energy is going backwards. They can switch directions, they switch levels, but there's never a moment goes backwards. They can stop and make a different choice. It's always moving forward. You do fancy things, you do simple things, but it's always moving forward. And if you think about that, when you put a piece of copy in front of you every time, okay, and think of, boom, I'm going to go here and never stopping. It's a really powerful tool. So, the braid of analysis, some simple tools that become framework. Oh, sorry, Joy. So, when the video isn't playing, can you hear me okay? Overall? Is everyone having...
It's better.
Okay, so when the music was playing, it was hard to hear. Yeah. Okay, so basically what I was saying was just notice how the energy is always moving forward. Is basically the gist of that, and then you can take that in from what the guys are doing. Okay, so I think that's the end of the music part. So thanks for letting me know that. Great. Okay, so to review. The braid of analysis has 3 strands: connection, logic, and energy. The idea is to identify each one separately and then understand that you'll be weaving each one through every piece of copy. Okay? So let's go out for time. We've got an hour and 10 minutes. So let's see. I'm going to leave a lot of time at the end for questions and review, what we call Dojo O's at the end, see what comes through. So let's have one person each. I'm going to ask for 3 volunteers, and we're going to spend a little bit of time applying each of these ideas. Okay. All right. I've got Joy. Let me see. Hold on. Let me stop this share. Hold on a second. And see who we've got here. I've got Joy and Lisa, and let's have a guy. Who's a guy who would like to volunteer? No brave man? I can't see everybody, but maybe you can put it in the oh, Jimmy. Oh, wait, no, Jimmy. Okay, hold on. Put it in the chat if you'd like to volunteer. If not, we'll have all the brave women. So Joy and Lisa and Andrew. Thank you. And let me, yeah, okay, so let me see. Okay, that'll be great. Excellent. Thank you so much. That is all offshoots of know you can do it even though you never tried. So, and confidence. So excellent. Let's do this. Let's bring you off mute, Joy, and on the audio. So hi, how are you?
I am well. And yourself?
Excellent. I'm super good. I'm super good. I love sharing this stuff, so it's very good. Okay, so let's see how we got you up. I'm actually going to put you. Let's see what happens if we put you in speaker view, and let's see what happens if we share the screen and look at the piece of copy that we're going to play with here. And let's get it there. Okay, there we go. All right, can everyone see this? The Pinnacle Bank. This is the lake shore. Okay. All right. So what I'd love for you to do, Joy, is take the first tool that we're talking about, and which is connection. And let's do this together, and then I'll have you read. I'll walk you through it, how to use the tool, and then we'll have you do a take, and then we'll do some adjustments. Okay. Actually, you know what? Let's have you read it first, and then I'll show you how to use the tools. How about that? We'll kind of get a sense of where you're at. Okay. So I always like to begin everything as in the rhythm of actually doing a session, so you get in your bones what the rhythm of an actual audition is, which is slating your name. So I'll say slate your name, which is saying your name clearly. Taking a slight pause, I'll say slate your name, and we're rolling on one. Okay, so after I say rolling on one, then you just take a slight pause and go into the copy.
Okay.
This is the equivalent of being on a track team and on your mark, get set, go. Right? Or on a film set, rolling, speed, action. Right? Okay, so slate your name, and we're rolling on one.
Joy Baker. This is the lake shore where the trees break and the water begins, where the kids splash in summer, and in the winter you could watch figure skaters pirouette alongside high school boys playing hockey with a goal made from 2 shoes. This is the land, and for generations, Pinnacle Bank has been learning from it and going to work for businesses, for farms, for families. Put us to work for you at pinbank.com. Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be. Member FDIC.
Excellent. Very nice first take. Lovely. Some lovely, lovely stuff. Now, let's see what happens and what other layers and nuances we can unfold and unveil, release from the copy when we use this tool, the connection tool. So let me ask you a couple questions. How do you feel about banks?
I don't really know. I like them.
Okay, so you have a good experience with your bank?
Yeah, more or less.
Okay, so
I grew up with stories about good banks.
Okay, but what's your experience now? What's your personal experience? So yes, we're supposed to like banks, and this
Right.
is a bank, and I'm a very nice person, and I think banks are nice, and I don't want to. But
my personal experience with banks is right now I'm trying to choose what bank I'm going to set up my business bank account in, and the waters are rather muddy.
Excellent. So it's not necessarily as crystal clear as Pinnacle Bank would. Your experience is not as crystal clear as Pinnacle Bank is laying out the experience with them is, right?
Not yet. No.
Right. Now, so this is an interesting thing. Do you see how when we go to that, like, what's the part, we get to a vibrational thing of like, we know what we're supposed to think. What do we really think? And then if we can get a really clear path of like, oh, you know what? I would really like a bank like this. This is what I'm looking for today. Then you can have, there's a whole nother relationship with this, right? What if it was like a bank that was like the people you knew when you were growing up? Wow, that would be awesome. I would love that instead of, some corporate entity that's totally going to, I want to, that doesn't have my
Stop there. Yes.
in mind and below, right?
Right.
So that's the first thing, right? So how do you feel about Lakeshore? When I say Lakeshore, what comes up for you?
Childhood, family.
Good, good, good. So where did you grow? Did you grow up on a lakeshore?
The family business was 2 miles away at a lakeshore,
Excellent. Good. Where did you grow up?
Minnesota.
Oh, 10,000 lakeshores.
Yeah, that's us.
Excellent. Good, good, good. So I grew up in Chicago, so my lakeshore, but I spent a lot of time in Minnesota. So my lakeshore might be a little bit different, but
Yeah, a bit bigger.
yeah. And if you grew up in Arizona, you might have a different experience of a lakeshore. But see what happens if you can find what is specific, right? So we want to know which of the 10,000 lakes you're talking about without you saying a word, right?
Right.
Take us there, right? And in that same way, who are kids that you splashed around with in the summer?
My sister and my little cousins.
Okay, good. So
And
you
my crazy uncles.
great, great, great. So each of them have really specific names, and
Yes.
right? And then these other people, and then also in Minnesota, you have a really good experience of summer and winter.
Yes.
That can be personalized. And who did you go to high school with? Like name three jock boys that you went to high school with.
3 what boys?
Jock boys.
I don't think I knew any jocks.
Really? There was no hockey player in Minnesota?
I'm sure there were. I just didn't know them as that. I was kind of exclusively musical theater. Anthony, probably another Tony. Jake?
Great, great, great. So rather than general skater boys,
Right.
right? Do you see where I'm getting at?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And then in Logic Land, we have the story, and then we have the point, right? The point of what we're getting at, what the bank is delivering. So how do you feel about the land? How do you feel about generations? How do you feel about a bank that learns? How do you feel about a bank that works for you, for your business, for your farm, for your family? How do you feel about business, farm, family?
It's the way it should be.
Exactly. There you go. Seriously, right now
Yeah.
it's all connected. Good. Okay, so we just read down for connection. Now I want you to do the other thing in the toolbox, in the connection toolbox. And who are you sharing this with? Who's one specific person that you know in real life that you might share this with?
Seth, my husband.
Okay, great. And has he been to the lakes, or has he not been to the lakes?
Kind of.
Not so.
Not really, kind of. We haven't had the tour that I want to give him yet.
Excellent. Okay, so take Seth on the tour and explain why you're choosing Pinnacle Bank as the one you're going with. Okay?
Okay.
So let's take it again from the top. You don't have to slate again because we know it's your take. Okay, so rolling on 2.
This is the lake shore where the trees break and the water begins, where the kids splash in the summer, and in the winter you can watch figure skaters pirouette alongside high school boys playing hockey with a goal made from 2 shoes. This is the land, and for generations, Pinnacle Bank has been learning from it and going to work for businesses, for farms, for families. Put us to work for you at pinbank.com. Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be. Member FDIC.
Excellent. Good, good. So I think there was another layer of connection, and then there was a little bit that came in the middle of the idea of what it should sound like. It's a little interesting because you are very soft spoken, and like that's just a lovely thing. It's not like do something differently. You have a very gentle way about you and way you're observing. Let's see if we can make it a little bit more specific. So where my sister Lizzie and my cousin Bob and Uncle Joe and Uncle Frank splash in the summer, and in the winter there's Beth Martin doing her twirls, right? So see if you can get it that specific. Right? It's not just generally figure skaters. So see what happens if you just do that. Just put in actual names in that second paragraph.
You want me to say them?
Yeah, see what happens. I just want to see where your voice goes.
Okay.
Okay.
This is the lake shore where the trees break and the water begins.
Hold on one second. Which lake is your lake shore?
Cedar Lake.
Okay. So this is Cedar Lake.
Mm-hmm.
So see what happens when you say
Okay.
it. Oops, hold on one second.
Hello.
Sorry, not at my house. Okay. Okay. So yeah, put in your specifics and see what happens.
Okay. This is Cedar Lake, where the trees break and the water begins, where BBLC and Uncle Bob splash in summer. And in the winter, you can watch Ethan, Jason, and Seth figures. Wait. In the winter, wrong ones. In the winter, you can watch Sarah figure skate pirouettes alongside Ethan, Jason, and Seth playing hockey with a goal made from 2 shoes.
Great. Fantastic. Can you all hear and feel the difference between the idea of, oh, a lovely winter setting, and Ethan, Jake, and whoever the third guy was, right? But it just came to life in a completely different way.
I'm not staying stuck in the same mode. I'm allowing myself to shift.
Yeah, well, what you're doing is you're really connecting to something that really means something to you, and you're sharing that, and you're not thinking about the idea of what it's supposed to be.
Right.
Just sharing your truth, right? Yeah. So to finish up this last paragraph with that in mind. So this is Minnesota, and this is what we do, and everybody is like this, and right. So do that last paragraph. Now we're switching gears that you're telling me why I should come to the bank because it's like this, but not the idea of it, why you believe in it. Okay?
Okay.
Last paragraph.
This is the land. And for generations, Pinnacle Bank has been learning from it and going to work for businesses, for farms, for families.
Good. Hold on one second. So this is the land. So what's the place? Like this is Minnesota. So I want you to say Minnesota. And how many generations of Minnesotans do you come from?
4? I don't know.
Okay.
4?
Generations from great grandmother to great grandma to grandma to mother to me. Pinnacle Bank, right? You got it? That'll be
You want me to say that?
I want to see what happens when you do.
Okay. All right.
From This Is the Land.
Okay. This is Minnesota. And for generations, from Edwin to Ralph to Paul to me, Pinnacle Bank has been learning from it and going to work for businesses, for farms, for families. Put us to work for you at pinbank.com. Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be. Member FDIC.
Nice, really good. So what one of the things we talk about at the dojo is how do you know when you get it? It's because when someone who's listening gets a shiver. And I started to get a shiver. Now, one last thing and then we'll move on because I want you to now keep all of that infused, but just use the words that are here.
Okay.
It's from This Is the Land.
This is the land.
Hold on a second. You didn't go, this is Minnesota.
You're right.
I'm exaggerating because you didn't just do that. But you went, this is Minnesota.
Right.
Right? So this is all we're doing, guys. This is everything. Okay, one more time.
This is Minnesota.
No, just say now this
is the land. This is the land. And for generations, Pinnacle Bank has been learning from it and going to work for businesses, for farms, for families. Put us to work for you at pinbank.com. Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be. Member FDIC.
Good, excellent. Now add Seth, your husband Seth?
Yes.
So now add Seth into it. So share all this with him.
Okay. This is the land. And for generations, Pinnacle Bank has been learning from it and going to work for businesses, for farms, for families. Put us to work for you at pinbank.com. Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be. Member FDIC.
Good, that's the idea. Can you guys hear this, the little nuances that start coming through? And if she was talking to her sister, that would be something different. Let me stop the share here and see how your faces look. See how this is coming through. And let me put this on gallery. Good. Any questions? Could you all feel the differences? It's subtle, but it's that subtlety, that difference between sharing and reading, that makes all the difference in the world, right? So that's what we're looking for in every time we pick up a piece of copy. And then things will have different amounts of polish, right? So this is a very home folksy sort of thing. So we'll have different amounts of polish on different things, but that connection still needs to be there. Great work, Joy. Really, really nice. Any questions? Yeah, Lisa just showed it. It felt a lot more authentic. Yeah, and you can receive it more, right? Yeah. And then Jasmine just said, enjoy the first read, but the last one was even better. Yeah, that's what we're always looking for. Good. Okay. Excellent. Let's get reset. So fantastic work, Joy. Thank you. So with everything that we're going to be doing, we want to come from that first, right? Because a lot of the times everything else will take care of itself. So let's let's go back to the presentation and let's look at our next piece of copy, and we're going to pull on the logic thread. Okay, so this is what are we talking about and how are we talking about it, right? So we're starting to do the same layers of how do you feel about cats? How do you feel about finicky cats? Do you know any finicky cats? Which finicky cats do you know? What do you feel about cat food? How much money do you spend on cat food, on buying different cat food, right? So you may know this, or you may have, you may not have cats, but you may have children that you have to make separate dinners for, or you may have, a spouse that you may, don't make that or do this. So you can find out what's genuine for you if you don't have cats or don't like cats. So let's see. Hold on a second. Control this from here. So, shoot. Bother, I have to undo everything to get to the controls. So I think Lisa was next, yes? Okay, so let's find Lisa and bring her up. There you go. You are unmuted, Lisa. There you go. Hi.
Hello.
Hi, remind us where you're calling from.
From Los Angeles.
Excellent. That's where I live. Are you Northwestern?
I'm sorry?
Are you Northwestern? I feel like I know your name for some reason.
I wrote for television for a long time, so you might know my name. Are you a sci-fi nerd?
A little bit, yeah. There we go. Excellent. Cool. So you know a lot about storytelling. Excellent. Okay. So let me put this back up in big mode so we can see it. Yeah. And okay. All right. So let's do a quick review of your connection thread. So how do you feel about cats?
I absolutely love cats, and I have two.
Excellent. So you know, and they have distinct personalities, right?
Yes.
Okay. So just totally connect up about that. Now, I want to show you how to use this tool of logic. Remember, we read down for connection, we're reading up for logic, right? Okay. So what we do is look at the last line of the copy, which usually is the tagline, right? The tagline is the distillation of everything we've been talking about. If we only had 2.0 seconds to say this, to get our message across, this is what we would say, right? Yeah, mix. It's a perfect mix to please every cat, right? Now,
just FYI, I can't see all of the script. It's actually partly hidden under the gallery. Is there any way to
Oh yeah, you can move your gallery around your screen. So just put your cursor on the gallery on the top bar.
That helps. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Excellent. Okay, so let's look at this tool. So if we start, this is a tool that you think of like if you start in San Francisco and don't know exactly where you're going, you could go in any direction or any way, right? I'm here in New York. I keep on getting off the subway and walking in completely the wrong direction. But if you're in San Francisco and you know you're going to Los Angeles, then it's really easy to kind of go, oh, that's where I'm going to Los Angeles. Now, it makes it even easier if you start in Los Angeles and you mark exactly where you go before you're in Los Angeles, and then before that, and then before that, and before that, and then you're in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. Right? So that's what we're kind of doing with this logic tool. So, so walking through, if all roads lead to, it's the perfect mix to please every cat, then flavors of real white meat chicken and salmon is the perfect mix to please every cat. Mm-hmm. And why Meow Mix Tender Centers combines a crunchy outside with a meaty center to make the perfect mix that pleases every cat. And cats are a mixed bag of personalities, thereby requiring perfect mixes to please every cat. Right? So this is a really short piece of copy, so we can see it's a short road. But do you see how when we know where we're going, then we can start with intention and know where everything fits together, right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then if you think about, so that's figuring out what are we saying, right? And then how are we saying it? So how we are saying it is we're putting out a premise. So you can also think of this as what function is each sentence serving? Mm-hmm. How are we saying it? The premise is cats are a mixed bag of personalities. I'm just putting that out there. And letting your mind go, oh, that's right, I do have two cats, right? And then this is some solutions, right? The problem is cats are a mixed bag of personalities. That's why we've created a cat food that has this kind of this and this kind of this. Mm-hmm. Right? And also, it's about the flavors, right, which cats may or may not be able to taste. We don't know. So we put them together and it solves the problem. Mm-hmm. So the function, understand the function, right? This is the textures, this is the tastes, and this is the solution, right? So, all right. So let's have you do a couple of read-throughs.
Okay.
Slate your name, and we're rolling on one.
Lisa Clink. Cats are a mixed bag of personalities. That's why new Meow Mix Tender Centers combines a crunchy outside with a meaty center. With the flavors of real white meat chicken and salmon, it's the perfect mix to please every cat.
Nice. Good. That seems super, super clear. And I guess we didn't get a baseline to see where it was before we used the tool, but it sounds like you're kind of on this. Okay. Excellent. So let's see if we can get even more specific about activating there's words that are repeated, right? Mixed, mix, meow mix. That's the premise of the whole product. It's not just one thing. It's a mix of things, right? And it's a perfect mix. So seeing how that's a little logic thread that you can find. If anyone's done Shakespeare, if anyone has had any Shakespeare experience, breaking down copy is exactly the same as breaking down Shakespearean text. Or selling McDonald's, not doing Macbeth. It's the same process. And if you haven't, it doesn't matter. But your Shakespearean skills will be even better. Yeah, and then let's see how we can activate the crunchy, meaty balance and the outside and the inside. Okay. Outside, inside. We don't say inside, but a center is obviously inside. And the difference between white meat chicken and salmon, right? So let's see if we can activate that other layer of nuance through the logic. Okay?
Okay.
Rolling from the top, no need to slay.
Cats are a mixed bag of personalities. That's why Meow Mix. I'm sorry, let me start over. Cats are a mixed bag of personalities. That's why new Meow Mix Tender Centers combines a crunchy outside with a meaty center. With the flavors of real white meat chicken and salmon, it's the perfect mix to please every cat.
Nice, good, good. So we've got the logic going pretty well. Can everyone hear the slight differences when you pop this and pop that, or activate the balance? Right. On the one hand, crunchy outside with a meaty center. Balancing it out. Very good. Now, I want you to, we've got the logic down pretty well. I want you to tap into, I want you to pull in the connection thread. So without saying your kitty's names, I want us to know what their personalities are.
Okay.
Okay. So, and which one eats which? Why would you get one for us, right? So without saying a word, let's see what happens when we combine, when we pull on the connection thread and the logic thread. Okay. Rolling one.
Cats are a mixed bag of personalities. That's why new Meow Mix Tender Centers combines a crunchy outside with a meaty center. With the flavors of real white meat chicken and salmon, it's the perfect mix to please every cat.
Good. Now, I think that there's more relaxation when we're just talking, and then a little polished. It's great. It's great. It becomes a little polished when you're reading. So now put your cat's names in there.
Okay.
So what are your cat's names?
Loki and Freya.
Loki and Freya are a mixed bag of personalities. So see what happens with that.
Okay. Loki and Freya are a mixed bag of personalities. That's why new Meow Mix Tender Centers combines a crunchy outside with a meaty center.
Good. And what kind of cat food do you buy for them?
Actually, wet food.
Okay, they both eat wet food?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're more on the same team. You don't necessarily have this problem.
No, they actually both eat the same thing, but
do they have different flavors that they prefer?
No.
Okay, so your pets are not this problem. Okay, so have you ever had it? Like, do you see where we go? Like, okay, I've never had this problem, right? Yeah. Good. This is the idea. So we see how these things work together, right? And the nuances that we can find by using each tool. Great. Thank you.
Thank you
very much. And Andrew, let's have you look at the next one. Where are you? Did we lose you? Nope, there you are.
I'm here.
There we go. And so we're going to talk about energy. So get this up, move it forward. Okay, so here is the piece of copy for energy. I'll give you a second to look it over.
Okay.
Remember, we want to pull on the connection thread first, right? So if you're allergic to shellfish, this might not be, then how do you just in Maine, and my little guy had a slightly allergic reaction to his first lobster in Maine. I was like, oh no, that's terrible. Hold on one second. I just want to get these things out of the way. Let me share this again. Okay. Put this over here. Okay, here we go. All right, so pulling the connection thread, pulling the logic thread. What are you talking about? What are the functions of each sentence? If you notice in the specs, which is the description that the copywriter is articulating to you how they would like this played, right? Must have the ability to deliver comedy punchlines. Not that funny. There's not that much that's funny here.
Oh,
So, in terms of both the logic and the energy, I'd go, okay, I got to find the funny. Okay, find the funny. Okay, great. But that there is some humor or something funny about it, would inform the energy of it, right?
Okay.
This is in a dreadfully serious sharing about where you can get seafood, right? There's something funny. So that's one clue that you could say, oh, how would I adjust the energy there, right? Now, here's something about energy. I'm going to give you one more piece of information, and then I'm going to have you read it, and then we'll use the tools to adjust, okay? We want the energy to come from connection. So if you need to calibrate the energy, what would really make you excited about something in real life that would make you speak more animatedly or speak more with more excitement, right? And you can take it up from there. But see what happens when you try and get the energy generated from your real connection rather than an idea of extra energy. Okay, so let's see where you're at. Okay, you all set?
I'll jump in.
Excellent. Fantastic, because that is the third rule of the dojo. You can do it even though you never tried. So fantastic. And also,
one quick question. It says fish SFX.
Oh yes, good question.
I'm not doing those. That's added, right?
Well,
okay.
Have someone else do the fish SFX, but I think that's where the funny comes in.
I think so.
If you saw this and if you saw this and the fish were going right, that would be kind of funny. Right? So yeah, SFX stands for sound effects. Okay. So excellent. So slate your name, and we're rolling on 1.
All right. Andrew Pierce. So, you love great seafood. Then come to Old Country Buffet for 3 from the sea. Try savory crab cakes, buttercrumb Alaska pollock, sweet orange shrimp, along with dozens of other dishes, beverages, and tasty desserts, all for one low price. It's a seafood paradise. 3 from the sea, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights, only at Old Country Buffet.
Nice. Good. Excellent. So, perfect. So in general, you have a real, I'm sorry, what did you say?
I just said, whoa.
Okay.
I'm not finding the funny yet.
Okay, it's okay. This is a take-based medium, and we'll find it. And we might have just met Andrew's inner critic a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
He goes, wow, So it's a whole other discussion, but I just want you to notice this is, in the millisecond we have when we're in a session, if your inner critic's going, it's really important to ask them to, okay, so here, I'll show you a little bit about dealing with your inner critic. So recognize your inner critics in the room, ask their name, and ask them what notes they would give you. Because he probably said, well, he kind of did, right? Well, that wasn't funny. Well, that wasn't funny. And you go, oh, great. Okay, so whatever your name is, thank you. Yeah, I think it can be funnier. I think the humor is pretty subtle. Thank you. I'm going to look for the funny. So if you could step outside the booth, I'm going to do this other take, right?
Okay.
It clears things up, right? Good. Okay, so that was actually a really, really nice first take. I'm going to run you through the connection and the logic, right? Really quick. So how do you feel about seafood?
I like it.
Okay, great. Seriously, right? You're not just saying, yeah. I'm loving it because you're McDonald's. So what's your favorite?
Oh, my wife makes a great salmon.
Excellent. Good. Do you feel that connection? Good. Yeah. So these are all equally as yummy, if not more yummy.
Yeah.
My wife makes, right? I think it's pollock.
Pollock.
I think it's how
when I say pollock.
Pollock. Yeah. the Polish fish. Yeah, no, I think it's pollock. So that's no problem. Good. And there was something else interesting in the energy that I think you can keep. You were kind of like letting me in on something. That was an interesting energy. Oh, so you love, let you in on something. So let's see if we can do that and keep it up, that you're really excited about it. And then I think just the second time through is going to smooth out the energy going through. But could you guys listening notice when some of the ideas, when the energy kind of went like that at an end of line? So let's see how we can keep them going. And we want to create ramps that things go up. Like here's one line, and the motorcycle goes up at 3 from the sea. Wow! And try this, right? So you want to keep it all kind of going, just like that parkour.
Yeah.
Boom, shoom. We'll try this. Voo, 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 voo. And it's wah, shoom, 3 from the sea, right?
Okay.
And you can kind of play around with that. You can make a roller coaster with your hand. It's boom and
okay.
You can play around with that. Okay, so let's go again. And who are you sharing this with?
I would say my wife, but she doesn't like seafood as much. But
she would be a bad person to talk to about this, wouldn't she? Because then you'd be all like, "No, come on, I like it. You know, it's like yours that you make." But
no, I know she's gonna love this though. She always breaks down and likes things that I like.
Oh well, but if she really doesn't like seafood, choose somebody else. It'll be much easier.
Oh, okay.
Then we don't have to extrapolate, right? That's 2 degrees of Kevin Bacon from actually liking seafood.
Okay.
So who would love this? Who would be your crab meat?
Coworker Bill.
Okay, so hey Bill. Oh, new lunch place. We're going. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Rolling from the top.
So you love great seafood. Then come to Old Country Buffet for 3 from the sea. Try savory crab cakes, buttercrumb Alaska pollock, sweet orange shrimp, along with dozens of other dishes, beverages, and tasty desserts, all for one low price. It's seafood paradise. 3 from the sea, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights, only at Old Country Buffet.
Great. That made a difference. Now, let's take the lid off of it. So keep Bill's your coworker, right?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Bill, I've got a great place for us to go. We don't have to keep it a secret. We're just going. So just take the lid off the energy.
Okay.
It's a great little river under through it. Or, hey, Bill, you and me, we're going.
Yeah,
But I just want to take the lid off the energy a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, okay. Rolling when you're ready.
Okay. So you love great seafood. Then come to Old Country Buffet for 3 from the sea. Try savory crab cakes, buttercrumb Alaska pollock, sweet orange shrimp, along with dozens of other dishes, beverages, and tasty desserts, all for one low price. It's seafood paradise. 3 from the sea, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights, only at Old Country Buffet.
Good. So can you see how one low price went? All for one low price. So let's see what happens if we keep it all.
Oh, okay.
No, it's interesting because we need to learn to feel it and then hear it and then test it, and that's okay. Why should you know that? And that's why we work together so we can hear it together. So good. So I want you to just think that like that parkour guy. So you love great seafood. I'm going to jump over here, then come to here. And then, so everything is always just going a little bit higher. And then at the end, you just jump down and go, brum, ba. Right. So you're going up here, and then you're going up here, and then somewhere over here. But you never jump to the ground. So just keep it building.
Okay.
Does that make sense? One more time.
We'll try it.
Yes. Okay. Well, first of all, tell me about your wife's salmon. What makes it so good?
She uses a chipotle chili sauce. We like it hot.
Broils it, or
she broils it.
Oh, that sounds molto bene. Okay. Okay. Good. So invite Bill over. This is even better than that. Oh, so good.
So you love great seafood. Then come to Old Country Buffet for 3 from the sea. So you love great seafood. Then come to Old Country Buffet for 3 from the sea. Try savory crab cakes, buttercrumb Alaska pollock.
Good. Okay, so hold on. So this is fantastic. This is fantastic, Andrew. Your inner critic just keeps on going and stopping it. So this is why we asked them to step out of the booth, and it's okay. So here's how it rolls. Particularly in keeping energy of a take and a session going. If you make a mistake, calmly and clearly catch your breath and go back to the last piece of punctuation. Because if you keep going back to the top, your engineer is going to go. So because it's a take-based thing, so we'll just take what works. So if you got you miss this part, we won't use that part. We'll just take this part, right?
Right.
So, and sometimes what happens when we're really trying to sound excited, it gets a little hushed.
Mm-hmm.
And that usually means it's not really connected. Because if we're really excited about something, like I just went to lunch to meet my friend, and I got off the subway, and there was Stephen Colbert's theater, and then I walked a little bit down the road, and there was Jimmy Fallon's theater, and there was Radio City Music Hall. It's like, oh, I'm in New York. Yeah. Yeah. So one more time, and then we'll wrap up. This is really good, Andrew.
Okay.
One more time. Get us all to come over for the season.
Okay. So you love great seafood. Then come to Old Country Buffet for 3 from the sea. Try savory crab cakes, buttercrumb Alaska pollock, sweet orange shrimp, along with dozens of other dishes, beverages, and tasty desserts, all for one low price. It's seafood paradise. 3 from the sea, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights, only at Old Country Buffet.
Yes, really nicely done. Can you guys feel that? It's not that hard. You just got to get the rhythm of it and get it going. But you took all of those notes really well.
Thank you. I got to tell you, I'm not used to sitting down at the mic.
It's a tricky thing, and that's an energy thing, right?
Yeah.
That's an energy thing. So if we were really working on a session, we could just even have you stand up. I don't need to see you. So if we were really doing a session, or working on this, you would get yourself in a position that you would. But that's a really interesting energy note, because what happens in terms of your support and your connection when you're sitting on your butt versus you have your whole body as your resonator. So great. Okay. Fantastic. Really good work, guys.
Thank you.
So did you see how we just give you 3 little tools, some frameworks on how to think about it, and we're already getting into that fractals of nuances, right? So decision, mindset, technique, application, support. Just as you saw, you can see just in this little exchange how much happens from listening to each other. Like, being able to listen to each other, and then all of us looking at it like, oh, yeah, look at that. It's a really powerful and accelerating thing. So as just like the box here, nobody does this alone. It's always just you, but you never do it alone. And in voiceover, that's how it is too. And, frankly, voiceover is becoming more and more an isolated and solitary thing. Used to be everybody went to the agency every day and we saw each other, and then we'd go and do our stuff and we'd see the director, and now everybody's in the closet kind of by themselves in their own home. And it's kind of special times that you come out. So this keeping connected and understanding that you really don't do this alone. You do the work alone, but you don't keep it all going completely alone. The more you're working with other people, the more you're part of the community. So yeah, and that's the dojo is one way that you can do that. I'm going to wrap up here and talk about, I want to hear what came through for you and open up for questions. Well, actually, I'll hold this thought. So I'm going to put this back here. So what I'd love to do is we'll finish up with what I call Dojo O's, which will be what's one thing that came through. I want to answer, see what questions you guys have, and then we'll finish up with some Dojo O's and talk about what things are coming up and what's next. So let me put you back into Brady Bunch mode. And just unmute yourself and let's hear your voices in the room and hear each other. And what?
I have a question.
Yeah.
when you were talking about the programs offered by the VO Dojo, there's the Mystery to Mastery, and that's a 4-year program.
Oh, full year program. Sorry.
Okay, there we go. I was like, that's
full year program.
And so you pay for that all at once, and then
you can, or you can do it in phases. Yeah. Yeah, and in terms of that, we'll talk a little bit about like the things that are coming up next and how you can do that. Yeah, 4-year program. What the Mystery to Mastery program does is actually takes 4 years of you kind of doing things on your own and figuring it out and putting pieces together. It actually consolidates it into about 1 year.
Okay.
From I don't know to working for. That's the idea of it. Just focusing everything, so that you don't spend 4 years and getting things going. So yeah.
Is there any way to participate without getting involved in a big commitment event? Do you have any single things?
We have some less commitment things. So we'll talk about what's coming up. In general, like in terms of the content, we'll talk about all offerings coming up. But I want to just get your thoughts on if you have any questions about the content, and if not, we can go on to Dojo's, because I explained it so well. Yeah. Any questions? Is this new, old? Sometimes coming on workshops and being exposed to new ideas, it's a great thing, because you can go like, oh yeah, I already know that. Like, you can complement and supplement what you already know, right? So if it complements, oh, that's kind of how I'm approaching things. Fantastic. Wow. Or if it's like, wow, that just opens up whole new realms. That's great too.
Do you are you doing this as a class kind of thing, where you lead a class with a subject of the class and then take us through the steps, or is it more of a workout where we bring things to it?
Do this. Let me gather your Dojo O's, because I want to, and then I'll go right into all the offers and how it can work next, because I want to keep us focused on this, and then we'll figure out how and what's next. So let me explain what a Dojo O is, and I'd love to hear all of you and see all of you if you can. But hearing is fine because it's voiceover. So a Dojo O is something that we do at the end of every time 2 or more of us are met, right? And the idea is that we share at least one thing that that made you go, oh, or oh, or oh, or oh, or oh. Whatever the quality of the O is, share it in its most distilled form. So this does 2 things. 1, we leave this call with however many of us here, these little gems that are distilled from somebody else's perspective. So it's an added layer of what you got distilled. And then you can go, ooh, that's a great gem. I'm going to put that in my pocket. That's great. That's a great thing to remember. Excellent. And the distillation process is actually the gymnastic exercises that we want our brains to be doing all the time. Nimble-mindedness is the most important thing for this work. And so we just covered a ton of stuff, ton of ideas, and they're organized, but it's still like, whoa. So what we do when we do a session is we need to open up to all the possibilities, boom, 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 and in an instant, in a millisecond, boom, this is a choice I'm making. Great. And then on the next take, you get the note, and then you go, boom, boom, okay, what are all the possibilities? Boom, this is the choice I'm making. So these Dojo O's are these are gymnastic exercises that are doing exactly that every time we come and share, a lot of different layers of information. Boom, what came through for you? So let's hear some voices and faces that we haven't heard from. Melinda, if you're still with us, I'd love to hear your Dojo O. And I'll help you distill it, too. It's part of the process. Are you with us, Melinda? Can you hear me? You can unmute everyone. There you go. I hear you.
Hello.
Hi. What's your Dojo O for today?
Oh man. I I haven't been feeling so well, so sorry.
Oh, no worries, no worries. Whatever you feel up for sharing, and good on you for being here, because we got to do voiceover stuff when we're not feeling well as well. So,
Yeah.
is there something that came through for you?
Not really. I like listening to Joy, and I really liked your picture you had for that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I'm kind of feeling like I'm getting. Thanks, Joy. I'm like from the get-go when it started, Tish, I noticed your voice, and I was like, your voice is very it really flows. It's really lyrical, like. Wow, mine doesn't sound anything like that.
But that's okay, because that's your voice. So you can trust your voice. I mean, there's people who have had whole careers that their voice just does one thing, and you find the variations of that, right?
Yeah.
So, and then also, as you start doing this work, as you start exploring and releasing the nuances, there's lots of stuff your voice will do that you didn't even know, right?
Yeah, I'm finding I have my New Yorker voice, and I got a little Southern belle, and I've got some other things I'm working on. And
well, so I want to make a distinction between your voice and voices that you do, right? Because those are voices that you do, great,
right?
But the thing that we're kind of exploring today is, what's that thing? I was like, oh, that my voice doesn't. And it's like, what's that? And find what's embraced, what's to be embraced about that, and if there's something that you want to expand on, right? So yeah, and everybody, each one of us. I mean, I'm looking forward to hearing everyone's voice, but yeah, so good. So a Dojo O could be that. I can trust my voice, right? So that could be a good thing. Excellent. Anyone else want to share? I just put you on the spot, Melinda, too. So thank you for stepping up for that. Sure. You get the idea? I want to just pop through and...
Hi, this is Renee.
Hey, Renee.
Hi. I thought Joy's voice was great as well. The other two were good too.
Excellent.
Dojo for me was what you told Andrew about the inner critic. I thought your approach to that, it just resonated. It's like, yes, that's what I do. If I get in the booth and start singing, because I've gone through different workshops, and I'll get up to the mic. In my head, I'm thinking about all the rules. But I just finished a looping class, so there's
and that's a lot to think about. That's a lot to think about all at the same time.
Being positive, don't say this, don't say politics, blah blah.
Right,
so
right.
When you get up there, you're getting ready to say what you would naturally say, but you're not supposed to say that. So I'll stop and chastise myself. And he'll say, don't do that. Just keep going.
Right.
So what you told Andrew is to say, okay, thank you for that. Now leave.
And that's different than, get out of here. I never want to see you again. Right. Because then you're just engaging. Right. So.
Yeah. So for me, that resonated. And I thought the way you described how to approach things and who are you talking to, get real people in your head. Because I was an actor from, back in the 80s where it was completely different. They wanted you to be the character on the page. They didn't want you. Now, they don't want the character. They want you
exactly
as the character. And I'm like, what?
Well, that's the thing about it, and sharing your truth is vulnerable.
Yeah, and it's a whole different mindset. So I've taken a few workshops. I just finished a 6-week looping class. I went to VO Atlanta, which was amazing. And so that's what really resonated for me. Just
fantastic. So if we were to distill that into a Dojo O, might be as simple as leave your inner critic outside the booth.
Yes.
Or engage directly but gently. Like that could be that's another thing that I heard. Yeah, good. Excellent.
That's great. Thank you.
Who else would like to share a Dojo O?
This is Heidi.
Hi, Heidi.
Hi, Tish. Thank you for this workshop. I would like to say that I simply love having a tool now at which to address copy, to read it through. And I didn't have that before. I didn't have a system or a format. So that is very helpful to me. Thank you for that.
And one of the things that I emphasize with everything we do at the dojo is I'm here to facilitate you finding your way. So I'll lay out frameworks for you to start thinking about things, but it's going to be you that find your way of the things that work. So while we're working together, please try them on. Please do them. Please see how it works for you. But this is just a tool.
Right.
A way of thinking about it. But it's like, then you can make up another way of thinking about it and run it through that. So good. Excellent.
Thank you.
Tools make things easier. That's a great Dojo. Fantastic. Who else? Ron, I haven't heard your voice in the room. The mute button. There you go. Can you hear me? We can kind of hear you. But we haven't heard you speak yet. Oh, here. I'm going to unmute you now. Let's see. Now we're probably opening and closing the buttons. Unmute. Why are you not unmuting? Huh, that's weird. Unmute audio. Huh. All right. All right, Ron, we'll have to figure out why you are not unmuted. That's weird. Unmute audio. Okay. Well, if you can write in the chat, and we'll keep on figuring out why this is. Excellent. EJ, what's your Dojo O for today? We can't hear anybody. What's going on? Hold on. Let's see what's going on here. Why is everyone quiet? That's not good. Okay.
Can you hear me, just out of curiosity?
Yeah, I can hear you. So let's keep that up. This is weird.
I'm still unmuted.
Yeah, this is weird. Okay, another technical funness. Here we go. Here's this. Unmute all. Let's see what happens there. Okay. Okay, let's just unmute all. All right, well, let's see. Okay, now everyone's unmuted. All right, anyone who'd like to share a Dojo, let's pop them out. And I do want to, within the time that we're allotted, share what's coming up next. Oh, Ron?
I was just going to add making the mistakes or moving the energy constantly forward was you turn your mistake into something that moves the energy forward.
Ooh, that's great. That's a great Dojo. Turn your mistake into something that moves the energy forward. Excellent. Good. Ron?
It's really helpful to think about the specifics, to essentially cast the characters, like in the lakeshore scene, because that brings a whole unconscious emotional backstory to it.
Exactly.
Getting really specific with the characters and locations, I found that really useful.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite Dojo O's. In general, be more specific. Like wherever you're more specific, do it. That's great. Listen, anyone else want to share anything?
Well, my Dojo O was basically that, but it was really, as I think about it, I would normally approach the piece as a whole and try and get the energy, and that's a good place to start. But being able to live in each moment of the copy as I pass through it, instead of allowing the context of the whole to allow each scene, break it down into like a slideshow or a commercial where each scene is different, and I have to develop connection with each individual piece.
Yes. I love that. Live in each moment of the copy. That's great.
It's like one of those pictures where they have like the Mona Lisa, but if you go up really close, it's actually a bunch of tiny little pictures.
Yes. That's a great image. leave, so we'll make sure we catch up with her. And Judy, can we hear your voice? A lot of carryover from on camera, and the tools are interchangeable. That's brilliant. Yes, if you. I talk about a gradient of vulnerability, and stage work being one level, on camera being another, and this being even more vulnerable because it's just our voice. It's just sharing ourselves. And then for me, I'm a trained opera singer, but it's always been a very vulnerable thing to actually sing in front of people. And then there's sex. So yeah, it's a vulnerable thing, and in relationship to your on-camera work, it makes you such a better on-camera actor if you approach it this way. Good. And Jimmy, excellent. Yes. So Jimmy's not feeling well and would rather not speak, which is brilliant, and taking care of your instrument. Reading copy from not the top down, but the bottom up. That's great. Yes, you can look at it in all different directions. Good. I'm not sure if that's a good thing. That I sound like an opera singer. But okay. Anyone else want to share anything before we go into what could be next? Okay. Well, all of you can totally keep in touch. And if you have other things that come up, please share them. And let's go back to the presentation, and we'll talk about what is possible coming up next. And you guys can take these tools and run with them, and I hope you do. And if you'd like to play here in this play yard, we got some really fun stuff coming up, and that's that. Okay, I'm going to mute everybody again. Okay, so the most important thing of everything here, I hope that you take away, is playing fully. And what's coming up next is, okay, so what's coming up next is the Summer of VO, which I call a virtual summer camp for grown-ups. So if you enjoyed what we did today, the Summer of VO will be 8 weeks. We're going to be starting in July. We have 2 class possibilities, Mondays at 10 Pacific time, so in the afternoon, other places, and Tuesdays at 6 p.m., so a little later in the evening. And you can choose whichever class works best for your schedule. And if you need to switch things around because of the summer, you can do that. Here's a little overview of what and how it will roll. So each week, I want you to think of this like when you go to summer camp, you go and try things, right? So you might be introduced to archery, and here's the basics about archery, and we'll practice it a little bit. So each week we'll be focusing on something a little bit different. The first and second weeks we'll be doing spotlight coaching, so just kind of working in this modality of playing around with how do you find ins, just like we were, how do you use these tools. In week 3, we'll explore what it is to give each other direction. We'll have enough tools to be learning the next layer of what if you had to direct somebody else, and what can you learn about self-direction from giving someone else being responsible for somebody else's direction. Week 4, we do an audition round, so everybody will read the same copy. And then we do a little American Idol style voting for who is the chosen one. This is all preparation for like our VO Dojo Pro Fight Club, our fight. Which is basically turning the audition process transparent. So audition week, then we'll go back to spotlight coaching, and in August we can play around. We'll look at some other genres, and then talk about a little bit business. So we want to think about this like a summer camp. We're here, we're exploring, we're going to play around with these ideas. The great thing about the Summer of VO is that this weekly virtual workout is actually an element of the full program. So you'll also be working with people who are in the full MTech program. Each belt level only has 10 or less people in it. So you'll be working with people who are also in the full program. So it won't just be everybody beginning. It'll be a little bit blend of everybody working together. Let me just go through. You guys can see the screen? Yes? Let's see what happens next. Wanted to offer you guys, and thank you for being here with us today. an offer that if you want to sign up for this, it's $100 off. And did I put I didn't tell you how much it costs. The summer of VO is $497 for the 8-week course, or if you need to do 2 payments of $300, you can do that. Yeah, and if you want to sign up today, you can go to the www.thevodojo.com. If you have any questions, like I said, I'll hang out here after the 5 o'clock time, which is right now, but we're almost finished. So I can hang out and answer questions here. Also, if you wanted to schedule a 15-minute one-on-one call, we can talk a little bit more about where you're at and where you'd like to be. I call that a voiceover once-over call. So feel free to hop on my schedule for that. You can also sign up for it there. And if you don't find a time that works, touch base with my assistant. Wanted to let you guys know that the first Wednesday of every month, except this one, it's going to be 4th of July, so we're taking it off. We do a free webinar called Ask the Sensei. That's me, our techno sensei, Dan Leonard. So if you have any tech questions, he's the home studio master. And then I also invite one of my colleagues to be a guest sensei. So we always have some other perspective as well. But that's always free in the first Wednesday of the month. And I think this might bring us to the conclusion. Oh, we'd love to stay in touch. We have a Facebook page, Twitter, and Instagram. So would love to have you in the loop. And that concludes our summer VO workshop. I hope you guys got a lot of great things that you can run off and play with this summer. If you'd like to come play here, that would be even better. Yeah, I'm going to conclude the class if you need to take off. And if you have questions now, I'm happy to answer them. Yeah, Joy.
So is the Summer of VO the only smaller opportunity that you offer? Because my budget can't take something like that all in a chunk. I would sign up for a month and then...
Well, the Summer of VO is pretty much like the path of least resistance. So if it's just money that's keeping you, talk to me, because in terms of how things go, I mean, if you wanted to just come play for a month, I guess we could do that. But the whole arc of the summer is about that. Yeah, I mean, if it's money that's keeping you, let's figure out what can work. Otherwise, we do the free webinars. Now that you have a couple of tools, so I don't usually do private coachings as people are developing, because I find it much more effective and accelerating for people to be working together and doing private coachings. But now that you have a couple of tools, if you wanted to do a private coaching, we could talk about that. It bugs me doing private coachings because it would take me a whole hour of private coaching to talk about the concepts, and then we wouldn't get to work, and then $50 on that, and then so yeah. So, but yeah, good. Oh, Heidi, you're sharing your screen with us. We're doing that intentionally. I think you can press unshare, top share, if you want to unshare that. Good. What are the questions? Oh, we've seen everything on your screen. What other questions does anybody have? There we go.
There you go.
We're back. Okay, gallery view. What are the questions? Anything else that I can clear up, or other thoughts, questions?
Can you hear me? This is Heidi.
Yes. No, I can. I can't see your screen, but I can hear your voice.
I am interested in a one-on-one, so the 15 minutes that you mentioned. Mm-hmm. So would love to set that up when you have a chance.
Okay, well, probably the quickest and best way to do that is to go to the Dojo website.
Okay.
www.thevodojo.com. And if you scroll down past the 4 elements, if you keep on scrolling down, you'll find a place where you can find a time on my calendar.
Okay.
And if you don't find something, then touch base with my assistant. I am traveling till 4th of July, but there should be some slots, and we'll make time. We'll make time if you don't find something that works.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. I'm so glad you're here. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Any other questions, thoughts, anything I can?
The Mystery to Mastery program, is that something that starts at a specific time in the year and you all go through it together?
Yeah. We have 3 sessions during the course of a year. So the winter session is January through March. The spring session is just coming to an end, and it's April through June. And then we have the summer VO. And then September through November is the fall session. We take December off because nobody has any brains. So in terms of the Mystery to Mastery program, so the next things here, Summer of VO is sort of the next thing. And then if you wanted to jump into Mystery to Mastery in the fall, there's several layers that you can do that. You can just continue with the basics. That would be the weekly workout. That will be the summer rhythm. And then there's all 7 elements that come together. And we can talk more one-on-one if you want to go into them. We would figure out how to get you the rest of the information for You Should Do voiceover, because this is just a little taste. This is like a little, here's some samples of little bites that you can have. And then the You Should Do voiceover is more like a whole platter. And then in Mystery to Mastery, it's like, here's the meals, right? And nothing will be unsatisfying or unuseful. It's just in metaphorically speaking, that's kind of how it would unroll. So, yeah, it's a great question.
I may have the same question. So if you've done, and you've gone through the exploration of voiceover, and you actually have genres that you already been told by several different people.
Yeah.
And you haven't got paid gigs yet, but you have the foundation.
If you're on your journey, we usually, what I do with people who are on their journeys, and we can talk about this more in a voiceover once-over to get us a real sense of where you are. I don't want anyone going backwards on this journey. It's too expensive and too time-consuming. You don't want to go backwards. I think there's lots to be learned, like I was saying about the complementing and supplementing, but not going backwards. So if you've already invested time and energy and your skill sets are at a place where your next thing moving forward, we want you in that modality, right? So the Mystery to Mastery program is divided into 4 belt levels, which kind of separate the natural progression from I don't know to working pro. So the You Should Do voiceover intensive really opens up your awareness. Like this just went, oh, this gave you like an idea. This gave you a little spark. Mystery to Mastery opens your awareness of like, oh, this is everything. Whoa, and gives you a little taste of it. And then the belt levels, yellow belt is about exploration, exploring that even more. Green belt is self-exploration. So if yellow belt is figuring out where all the parties are and what's going on at the parties, green belt is going, okay, now I know where all the parties are. What am I bringing to the parties? Where did I feel most comfortable? What am I bringing to that? Blue belt is then, and that becomes the foundation for your demo preparation. And then blue belt is all about making your demo and demo production. And then brown belt is about integration. So now you have this tool, this thing in your hand. How do you get it out in the world? And that's going to be different for all of you because you all live in different places or different places experience level. So yeah, so
I have my demo already. I have my commercial demo.
Mm-hmm. So then we would we can get on a voiceover once-over call and we can say, okay, so what's next for you and how can this, so then you might come into this and be a brown belt.
Okay.
Right. And if you just, if what's next for you is how do I get this out in the world, right?
Right. Okay.
So, yeah, no, absolutely. We meet you where you are and move you forward from there. Nobody goes backwards. Nobody should go backwards. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. Any other questions, thoughts? So great that everyone's here, and thank you for staying a little bit longer. Yeah. I can't tell if people can't communicate. It's a little like Helen Keller without being able to see or hear, which is problematic. Let me see. I'm not sure why I can't unmute people either. So if you have any other questions and you can't seem to be heard, please put them in the chat. And if not, look forward to seeing your appointments for voiceover once-overs. We will be starting in July. So, and the idea is that we'll be limiting it to 20 people. So 20 new people. So the classes should be pretty, it won't be like 1 million people. So everyone will get to work. And if we need to, we'll open up other sessions. So, yeah. Well, why don't we wrap up there? And thank you so much for spending this afternoon. And absolutely keep in touch if you have any other questions. Great work, everybody. And I hope all of these new ideas keep on dancing in your heads and that you can apply them to everything you're working on, your voiceover career. So thank you very much. And
Thank you so much, Tish.
Look forward to talking with all of you more soon.
It was great.
Have a good evening.